Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time of day you're in. And this is going to be my opinion on what characters are the best in Valorant. Let's start off with D tier. D tier is probably Viper. The reason I say that is because a lot of her utility is useful and her ult's very good, but only if you're in the right place, right time. It's really situational. Well, actually, Viper's gotten a lot of buffs, but they're not really that great. Alright, let's go to C tier. I think she's the only D tier character. There's a lot of C tier though. So for C tier, I'm going to put Raze because her ult's like a free kill if you're good, and you can use a lot of her abilities and different. You can do different things with her satchels and her nades that are pretty cool, but other than that, she's kind of just like a fragger. So she's not that important to the team other than get kills, which you can do with this character better. You can do better with Phoenix or Reyna or Jet. You can do that better with all those characters. Alright, now on to the B tier. For B tier, I'm going to put Sage because although she did get huge nerfs, she used to be an A tier. Like, she would be an A tier character, but instead, after all the nerfs, she's going to be in B tier. I also think they're probably going to buff her here soon because her like amount of play has just dropped dramatically after the nerfs. But she's actually still pretty good because she still has 2 slows and she still has a wall. But the wall you can shoot down pretty easy if you're just there. But if you don't do it immediately, then it still is really useful. Alright, so for A tier, we're going to put Breach. I'm going to go back down, by the way, and start going back up again. So for Breach, I put him in A tier because, I mean, his flashes are just really ridiculous and really annoying. I would almost put him in S tier, but he has a lot of interesting utility that just stuns people and can move someone out of a corner. And his flashes are just ridiculously annoying because he can shoot them pretty much through any wall. It's like he doesn't even have to be challenged before he's just flashed you already. And for S tier, now S tier I'm going to put Sova because he's just information, which is ridiculous. Not really ridiculous, but I mean, it's really good. I mean, you can see people through walls. Like this. And his owl drone just pings you and you can't take the dart out like you can with a Cypher cam. So you're just pinging there for a while and you're going to have to run or get into a safe place. Alright, and for tier C, I'm going to put Reyna because although she is a fragger just like Raze, she really doesn't bring anything that helps the team. Her ult's really good. Well, it's decent, but it's not really good. Now, her flashes, I mean,
Introducing the new
yeah, but they don't really help that much because you can just shoot them. Yeah, she just heals herself, and she can her kind of like invincibility is really good. That's one thing that's pretty good. Is her invincibility that would almost bring her to B tier, but I feel like as if she just doesn't help her team all that much. So for B tier again, I'm gonna put. For Cypher, I'm going to have to put him at B tier because after all the nerfs, his tripwires go away after he dies, or they're just useless, they don't go away. But that really defeats kind of the purpose of having a Cypher if you die early, because it's like, I just put all those down and, you know, it's... you wasted 400 credits, basically. Which isn't that big of a deal. But it's still kind of a big deal whenever I die, and then it's like, oh, well, now they can plant in the easy spot because I didn't put my trip there, you know. Back to A tier. We're probably going to put Omen because Omen's really good, okay? So your smokes, they're like bubbles, like in the middle. It's not really cloudy like a normal smoke would be. So you can sit in your smoke and hold it, or you can make people think that you're sitting in your smoke. Make brain plays instead of just swinging on a flash and fragging. But his blind is actually really, really good because you can blind through walls and stuff. And there's a specific spot, like on bind, you can blind the entire hookah. If you stand like in between long and short, be long and be short, you can blind hookah all the way through, and then your teammates can push in. So His blind is really, really strong, or in his teleport. His teleport's pretty strong too. Alright, now back to S tier. Now, Sky to me recently has just been full on S tier. I mean, if you don't shoot her birds, your entire team's pretty flashed. That's how I've seen it, because since she can control where it goes, she can just stick it like right out there in front of you. There's nothing really you can do about it. And her wolf is probably her weakest thing, even though, I mean, you can shoot that too. You can shoot all of her stuff, but if you don't, like, if you're in a mid gunfight or you don't have time, then you're gonna be concussed. So there's nothing really you can do about it. And her ult is really just like oppressing, because I mean, you see this thing like coming at you, but if you're in a gunfight again, you're screwed, because you're going to be blinded, concussed, and not really able to do much. Now, she can heal her entire team around her, and what I think is that they're probably going to nerf that ability at least, and maybe take away a bird, because whenever she heals, sure, she can't use her weapon, but it heals her teammates so fast and so much health, it's kind of ridiculous. To me, it just seems like a lot of health that she's giving back in such a short amount of time. Let's go back up to B tier. So, for B, I'm going to put Phoenix, because he can heal himself with his molly, or he can use it to stop plant or something. Or he can stop them from pushing in a doorway, but both of his flashes are very effective. That's how I see him get kills most of the time. And his ult is really good for retakes, or if you're trying to push mid to get a kill or two, it's really good. Although you do lose your armor, which, I mean, I've never really gotten that part, but although you do, I guess it's kind of a balancing aspect, but he's still really, really good. Unless they get behind you and you don't have a teammate watching your body, then you're just dead. His wall is also very effective, because it helps your team get on site, and he can flash through it. Alright, back up to A tier. Now, A tier, I'm probably going to have to put Killjoy, because her turret can watch flanks, even though after the nerfs, same deal with Cypher, kind of. After the nerfs, actually, I'm going to move her back down to B tier, because just like Cypher, whenever, after the nerfs, her turret and all of her abilities stop working. So, I mean, her nades have always stopped working after she died, but her turret and her alarm bot used to continue to work after she died. Now, her ult can help get on sites, but from what I've seen, majority of the time, the other team will either use an ult on her ult, or they'll just wait. Because if you don't use the ult at the right time, then the ult's useless. Or if they've already planted and you use the ult, they'll probably just end up pushing you. Now that's a good way to get kills and shut them down, especially if you have teammates helping. But her ult can be a win or lose type thing. And for A tier, we're going to bring Brim. So Brim to me is A tier, because with his beacon, it makes all your teammates shoot faster if they walk through it, you know? So it's kind of like, and it has the same fire rate as Reyna's ult. They just made that change to where his beacon is the same as Reyna's ult. So even if Reyna doesn't have ult, then she can have the same fire rate as an ult. That might be kind of hard for Vandal players, because Vandal is hard to control in general. But if you have a Phantom and you have the stim beacon, you can just let the chopper sing, you know what I'm saying? So, and his molly is really good for denying plant, or stopping them from coming in a doorway very quickly, or just doing damage. And his smokes, he has 3 smokes. So all of his smokes, that's 3 smokes. Like that's a lot of smokes. So you can basically just like shut them off from being able to see whether you're rotating or doing a lot. You can use your smokes for a lot of things. Or you can use your smoke to block off the vision. So if there's someone like C-Long on Haven, if there's someone C-Long holding Spike, you can smoke that off, and then you can have a teammate holding it, or if you're in a 1v1, then you can just tap, and they have to push up. And his ult, oh my goodness, his ult literally denies plant, like, completely. There's nothing you can do. You have to find a different place to plant at that point, or you just have to not plant. It's really kind of busted. Or if they go to defuse, it's the same thing. If they go to defuse, then you can use your ult, kind of how you use it on offense and defense. Alright, so back down, or is that all the characters? Oh, I haven't done Jet yet. Now, where did Jet used to be placed? Normally S tier, I think. She probably used to be S tier in like comp because she would just have an op majority of the time and just dash away whenever she shot someone and no one could refract. So, but I'm going to put her in A tier because after the op nerf to where it's now 5,000 creds, it's really hard to squeeze that in like your team. Especially if you've lost a couple rounds, then I don't really think you can squeeze it in there. Now, if you haven't full bought every round and maybe you just light bought, like maybe a light armor and a stinger, then you could probably afford it in a couple rounds, but how many rounds are you going to lose because you didn't full buy? So if you don't know how to manage your creds right, then you're not going to be able to use the op and you're going to be lackluster Jet. Now her ult is okay, but you have to have good aim. Now that they've kind of nerfed the right click, it's been a lot more of left clicking people. So if you don't have good aim, then I wouldn't use Jet anyways. So that has been my tier list. Now this is my opinion. So if you don't agree with me, just tell me in the comments and tell me what you think, and maybe we can have a conversation about it and you can change my mind. I should have another Valorant video coming up that's going to be more highlights instead of a video like this. But this is my first time doing a video like this and I really enjoyed it. So leave a thumbs up.